actually, very respectfully, I'm just very curious because I know that in 2010 the FIFA World Cup was held in South Africa, and because I come from Singapore actually, so the song Waka Waka is actually still very popular until today. And was there any economic benefits from the 2010 FIFA World Cup that
Uh,
you would be clear about?
Absolutely.
Yes,
That
right?
was a huge economic beneficiations from all walks of life. Um, there were in South Africa we have about 9 provinces. Now, all the games were divided into all the provinces, right? So now, meaning everyone like within the province, people staying there, they would benefit from hotels, from any activities that to entertain them, the foreigners, because of they want to learn more about South Africa. So it was quite a big success. 2010. Remember, it was we were the first country in Africa to host the 2010 World Cup. So it was a quite a success, and every people benefited economically the world stage of football.
It's very well known until now. Even now, it's very popular. So
Uh,
I'm
uh,
very interested in South Africa. Thank you
uh,
for
uh,
this.
Thank you very much. I mean, there's so much to talk about South Africa.
Yes.
I mean, besides the 2010 World Cup, we are quite known on safari.
Ah.
Yeah, safari is one of the biggest like trademarks of South Africa.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the big five animals like can see them easily in South Africa. So there's so much to explore. We got the best wines in South Africa.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
Abalone is the one of the best abalones you can ever think. We get them in South Africa. I mean, even the Asian market, they know about abalone in South Africa. It's the best. So red wine, we have in the Western Cape.
Yeah.
So again, as you can see on the when you entered, like there's a picture of one of our historic trademarks, which is Table Mountain. So it's in Cape Town.
Cape Town. Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So Cape Town is quite famously known because of it's a city more like Hong Kong. It's more like Hong Kong in terms of we have more international communities staying in that city, meaning you'll find like all walks of life, Chinese, people from all over the world. They love that Cape Town because it's next to the wine farms, it's next to the ocean, and it's a beautiful city.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Mogono. Could you please briefly share with us what today's event is about?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us and having this interview. Today's event it's more of sharing about South Africa, its fintech, and more on more talking about the collaboration that we are embarking with Metropolitan University.
I see. Right. So, could you please tell us more about the consulate's recent collaboration with LiPACE?
Well, like I just mentioned now, the recent collaboration is now making sure that we're going to be exchanging programs with respective institutions in South Africa with Metropolitan University.
Thank you. Could you share any upcoming cultural events or initiatives aimed at promoting South African culture in Hong Kong?
Um, in the next coming one, it's going to be Africa Day, which is going to happen in the 25th of May. So this way, we celebrate showing case about Africa, including South Africa, and the next coming one is going to be around in September, where we celebrate Heritage Day. So we normally celebrate that one every year, and this is where now we're strictly dealing with like showing case about South African culture, how diversified it is, and what so forth.
I see. All right. How does South African consulate actually facilitate the cultural exchange and cooperation between South Africa and Hong Kong? Like typically, usually.
Normally it's through cultural events. and promotion. It could be through arts. It could be, inviting, people well with academy of background of culture, and invite South Africans with the same with the background. Then we interact in terms of exchanging the culture.
Alright, thank you. Um, and as you mentioned, there's going to be scholarships and exchange programs,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So, how is there any like specific ways in which the South African consulate supports the research and educational collaboration?
Thank you for that question. I was looking forward for that. Actually, that's one of the crucial role and for information dissemination. We maintain a dedicated web page and publish brochures highlighting scholarship opportunities and research grants, exchange programs offered by universities of government agencies in both South Africa and Hong Kong. Serving as central hub for such information can be invaluable for students and researchers seeking for collaborative opportunities. Furthermore, we act as facilitators, connecting universities and research institutions in South Africa and Hong Kong. Hence, we are here. This involves hosting network events for academics, for providing contact information for relevant institutions.
Nice. Thank you for your answer. Um, and perhaps what opportunities and challenges do you see arising from the globalization of higher education for South African students and institutions?
Um, Globalization of higher education presents a fascinating landscape for South Africa, brimming with both opportunities and challenges for students and institutions alike. On the bright side, students now have access to a vastly wider range of educational programs. Imagine a South African student passionate about robotics who can now pursue a specialized degree at a leading university in Hong Kong. Previously unavailable fields or cutting edge expertise become attainable. Furthermore, globalization can enhance quality of education in South Africa. Secondly, and lastly, the exposure to international faculty, diverse teaching methods, and collaborative research with foreign universities can foster innovation and knowledge exchange. Imagine South African institutions developing groundbreaking curricula alongside the prestigious partners abroad. This globalized education also translates to enhanced employability. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, how do you view the role of technology and online learning platforms in facilitating this globalization of higher education?
Technology and online learning platforms are revolutionized the way higher education reaches global audience, particularly undeserved communities. Technology fosters increased accessibility. Online platforms remove geographical barriers. Students in remote areas or with limited mobility can now access educational resources from prestigious universities worldwide. This creates opportunities for those who might not have been able to pursue higher education traditionally. Secondly, online learning offers cost effectiveness.
Thank you, thank you. That was very insightful. And actually, I'm very curious. How do you compare the inequality in Hong Kong and South Africa, and what lessons do you think each region can learn from each other?
Um, that question, honestly, at first I laughed when I looked at it. But to be honest, it's a very fair question. Um, you know, a small portion of population holds vast share of wealth. Um, that that's a comparison that I can quote of, but even back in South Africa, a small population small, they hold a bigger share of wealth. That's how, like, and this is evident in high cost of living, particularly housing, making it difficult for many to climb economic ladder. Factors like limited land and focus on financial services contribute to this. While overall poverty rates are lower, relative poverty, where individuals struggle to afford basic necessities compared to the average standard of living, is growing a concern. South Africa, on the other hand, faces extreme income inequality. This is a legacy of apartheid, the oppression in South Africa, with racial divides persisting in access to education, employment, and resources. The Gini coefficient, a measure of income inequality, is one of the highest globally. Historically, factors coupled with limited access to quality education and skills development further exacerbate this gap. Unemployment and large informal sector restrict economic mobility for many. Here, I absolute poverty here. Absolute poverty rates are much higher as well. I've observed as well, but it all depends on how a government try to work to make sure that like it it covers that. If like if you had more bigger population, was going to be a bit of a mountain to climb in terms of dealing with that issue.
I
Yeah,
completely agree with you.
yeah.
And I'm glad you mentioned about the apartheid as well, because I heard it in like literature works. It's a system in South Africa, right?
Was
The
it?
apartheid.
Apartheid, yes, apartheid.
Yeah.
These were the dark days of South Africa, where a bigger community it's now marginalized by a small community, oppressed. Like meaning you see signs like non-white, like meaning you as a black man you are not supposed to do anything, but a white man can do that. So those kind of things like that in back and they were cut off in the 1990s. Our struggle heroes like Mandela, they played a very important role in terms of trying to make sure that like instead of looking back on apartheid, but we work together. Hence, the country was called a rainbow nation towards working towards togetherness.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you for that answer.
All right.
So, lastly, how would you assess the effectiveness of community outreach programs, primarily aimed at fostering unity and support among the South Africans in integrating South Africans into the broader society of Hong Kong? Well,
Thank you for that. These programs create a vital social support network, especially for newcomers. Feeling sense of belonging and community can help combat isolation and homesickness. They also play a role in cultural preservation, allowing South Africans to maintain their traditions um, and celebrate heritage in the new environment here in Hong Kong, of course. These programs can act as bridges, joint events, and cultural exchange can foster understanding and build connections between South Africa and broader Hong Kong communities. Additionally, outreach programs can offer practical assistance, providing information sessions on visas, finding employment, or accessing healthcare in Hong Kong.